call to order the Newman City Council regular meeting, June 27th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain stand for the invocation. Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. And I'm mostly speaking from the heart this evening, and all those who are watching us online. In just the last 30 minutes, something's been on my heart for one of our council members. I'm not going to mention his name, but I just ask that you pray for our city council members, their families, the city of Newman, the people that serve this city, and that we have clear minds this evening to do the business for the city of Newman. Amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Councilmember McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ball,
Here.
Tomlinson,
Here.
Pimentel,
Here.
Mayor Graham.
Here. All right, from the closed session, all three items, direction was given. Item 5, declarations of conflicts of interest. Are there any tonight? All right, not seeing any tonight. 6, ceremonial, there are none tonight. Item 7, items from the public, non-agenda. Nobody's in here right now, so. Item number 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the June 13th, 2023 meetings. D, approval of a business assistant grant for Rigna Investments, ARCO. E, adopt resolution 2023, next number, adopting class specifications for the City of Newman employees. F, adopt resolution 2023, next number, approving the Measure L Capital Improvement Program project list for fiscal years 2023 through 2027. G, adopt resolution 2023, next number, adopting a salary schedule and benefit package for the management, supervisor, and confidential positions. H, adopt resolution 2023, next number, awarding the bid for the fire department dumpster enclosure project to Cordero Custom Remodeling and Repair, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the agreement.
I move that we accept the consent calendar for this period.
All second.
We have a first and second. Go and vote. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, public hearings, second reading and adoption of ordinance 2023, next number, an ordinance authorizing the levy of special taxes in the Community Facilities District and authorizing staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and take this one. Ms. Catherine's out today. Over the last several meetings, we've been going through a process whereby we are going to replace our landscaping lighting districts with what are called community facility districts. They accomplish the same task, but these new community facilities districts allow us a little bit more flexibility in how we manage them, as well as how we can maybe collect fees for different things in the future. There's a possibility we'll have to look at our budgets and how things go, but you could do a public safety tax or fee on top of it, or parks and maintenance fees. There's other slurry seals for roads and all the rest. But tonight, we're looking to establish the community facility district for 2 projects that are in town. One is the T Street project. You see that across from the Louis J. Newman building and the skate park there. It's a 10-lot subdivision. The other one is Matos Ranch subdivision being built by LGI Homes. They've just pulled their first dozen permits, so you're going to be seeing sticks going on and some foundations poured real shortly on those. So tonight, we're asking you to conduct a second reading and adoption of the ordinance that allows us to authorize the levy of the special tax in this community facility district, as you had previously adopted at one of your earlier meetings. So as this is a public hearing, I would ask that you open the the public hearing out to the public. If not hearing any comment or hearing any arguments against it, we would recommend that you, again, waive the second reading and adoption of the ordinance. And I can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? I'll go and open up to the public for any questions or comments. There are none. I'll bring it back to council for action.
I move to accept the second reading and adoption of ordinance. Am I supposed to use the word waive, or do you want me to read it straight off the prompter?
You're fine reading it
Okay.
as presented.
Move to approve the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2023, an ordinance authorizing the levy of special taxes in the Community Facilities District, number 2023-1, and authorize staff to publish a summary of said ordinance.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a first and second. Go and vote online. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, regular business. A, approve fiscal year 2023-2024 annual budget as presented in the preliminary budget document.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Newman City Council. There's two resolutions on the staff report. The first one is to adopt the GAN appropriations limit. What that is years ago, the state set up a limit as to how much a city can appropriate from taxes and use those for their city activities. The limit started, I think it was at 78, 79, and it keeps moving forward every year based on population changes and per capita changes. There's a formula that we use. Currently this year, for fiscal year 2023-24, the GAN limit is now $18,354,325. The city funds that will be used is only $7.5 million. We're well below that limit, as we have been every year. So first action would be to adopt that appropriation limit calculation.
Go and go through everything, and then we'll come back to them one by one.
Okay.
Are there any questions on that item? No. Okay.
Okay, let's go through the fun part. Okay, just to kind of as a brief update, the city current cash balance sits at $23 million. Our general fund cash balance is at $3.2 million. Our water fund cash and short-term receivables is at $1.9 million. And our sewer fund cash and short-term receivables is at $5.3 million. Financially, we're in pretty healthy shape. And let's go through the budget real quick here. If we turn to the numbered page 1, which talks about staffing levels. One of the changes that we did this year is that we converted a part-time office assistant position over at the fire department to a full-time. In calculating the payroll costs for the budget, we assume that all employees will take the maximum amount of costs for benefits, which doesn't ever happen. We always have some employees that waive health care because they're covered under their spouse. And we have some that don't entirely use all of their dental and vision coverage throughout the year. So there's always some savings there. So as far as a summary of each of the funds, if we could turn to page 5, this one is mounted sideways. And in the first column there, this is our general fund. On the top are the estimated revenues. We're looking at, that's $6 million, with $7 million of operating expenses. And then we have funds that are transferred in down below, $518,000. Those come from gas tax revenues, which go to cover our street costs that we expend under the general fund. And also COPS money that we get from the state, the COPS program, which gets us, it's supposed to be $100,000, but the last few years, because of some changes in regulations and investments, we end up getting about $150,000. And if you notice, we're projecting a year-end deficit of about $740,000. That's near the bottom there. Of that money, $586,000 is one-time capital investments and improvements. Now, that actually leaves us with about $200,000 deficit that's from other things, contracts, stuff like that. And usually, we tend to overcome that deficit by the end of the fiscal year. In essence, what we're doing is we're taking some of the money we've been saving up over the years and doing some improvements that the city needs, purchasing new vehicles, improvements to buildings, and such. Across the bottom line, the estimated ending fund balance, there's only 3 accounts that are projected to end up with a negative balance. The first one is the county CDBG consortium, which is about in the middle of that first page there, a negative 14,000. That one is typical because we usually we incur the expense first and receive the money in the following year. The next one would be near the end there, the Measure L, Fund 23. That one's a huge negative because we're going to do our big streets project again, which is what you guys just approved tonight. So we'll do the same thing that we did 5 years ago. The revenues from that fund have been increasing, and we're bringing in about $500,000 a year. So we should be able to recoup any shortages in a shorter period of time than we did previously. On the next page, page 6, in the middle, you can see the RMRA SB1. And this one is the same kind of thing. It's also a streets account. We're bringing in money to do projects with that money as well. We'll use future revenues to bring that fund back to a positive balance. And then if we switch over to the last page there, page 7, water fund, we're looking at ending up with a $1.7 million fund balance. And if we look at the page before, I'm sorry, Fund 60, we're looking at about 10.5 million ending fund balance. Those are both very healthy, in an excellent condition. Okay, if we turn over to page number 10, these are the general fund revenues. We have a variety of streams that come into the general fund, and a couple of notes. Our property taxes, we're projecting a 2% increase in property tax revenues. Part of this is we're not really seeing a huge increase in home values. It's kind of gone stagnant, but we are adding additional homes and additional commercial properties like ARCO. So there should be some increase that we would see. Our sales tax revenues we're projecting to be pretty much flat. It seems to have slowed down over the last few months. And then our franchise fees, we're projecting a 2% increase in those. Motor vehicle tax, there's an in lieu fee. It ties to the property tax revenues, and those are also being projected at 2%. In years past, in May, we used to get a report from the state or from the county that would tell us under embargo that what percentage increase we would be getting, and they don't produce that report now until July after everybody's budgets are done. So we're having to estimate a little bit more on those. Our refuse collection a little bit further down, we're projecting $1 million this year, which is a 5% increase. And overall, down at the very bottom, we're projecting an overall 5% increase in our general fund revenues over prior years. And if we turn to page 14, so on the top section, going across, these are the expenditures for each of the individual departments under our general fund. So city council, city manager, city clerk, planning, each of those going down. And then down across the bottom is the historical, the first 2 years being actual expenditures, the third column being what was adopted in the budget last year. Since the year hasn't ended yet, these are projected numbers. And then the two columns that we're requesting this year. We're looking at about a 10% increase. And then if we factor out the capital improvements that we're doing under the general fund, it's only about a 1% increase. Does anybody have any questions at this point? No?
Let me ask you a quick question, and maybe I can get some understanding. The 2% increase for property taxes, does that basically affect current properties or properties that are new people that are moving into Newman?
So it depends on what the county decides to increase as far as the value of your existing homes. Mm-hmm. But we have a few homes that are projected to be built and added on this year. Mm-hmm. And we also have ARCO that is being completed and added on. We'll get property taxes on that one as well. Mm-hmm. So some of that increase would come from that. If the county decides to increase the valuation of the homes, we would get some from that. But, in looking at real estate, I'm sure you guys have looked at that as well. The market's kind of gone stagnant ever since the interest rate started creeping up.
Oh, right.
Sales have slowed down. Matter of fact, one of the areas here in town was having difficulty selling their current properties, the new ones. So,
yeah. Okay, Lou.
Okay. I don't know. Do you want me to go through each of the departments under the general fund, or just go through and kind of point out significant? Okay. Okay, so for most of the departments, we're looking at payroll tax increases and benefits, which is typical every year. Under 1007, which is on page 24, page 23 and 24. Originally, on the left-hand side, you could see we budgeted $35,000 for the dumpster enclosure. Because of the council action tonight, that one will change to $67,326. So it's going to increase our general fund budget by $32,000 on that corner. Okay, and then under page 29 and 30, it's under our police department. We're going to be replacing a network switch, is about $18,000, and spending $13,000 on 2 new mobile data terminals to get those updated. And then if we go to page 41 and 42, under the parks, under account 7105, which is equipment, we're going to be spending $34,000 to install cameras and servers for security measures. Our cameras have been spectacular, if you've heard some of the reports. Okay, so that's pretty much under the general fund. If anybody has any questions on that one? No? Okay, so the next section of funds is called the special revenue funds. These are funds that have restrictions on the revenue types. For example, gas tax that comes in, we have to use them on streets and roads, or to recover, like on our general fund in our case, we transfer money over to the general fund to cover the expenditures that we incurred on repairing our streets and roads. So these include, for example, on page 53 and 54, this is a big one this year. This is our state grants. Catherine has gone out and just, I think, it seems like she pretty much won everything. She's got a ton of projects in there that we've been awarded. And I know Michael's been talking about these too. A lot of street projects, a lot of improvement projects, sewer stuff. It's been fantastic. So all those different projects that are listed down there are each individually tracked, so we can easily report how our performance is on those revenues that we received, expenditures on them. Next page, 18, which is the federal grants funds. Same kind of thing. We've got a few grants that are under that as well, and the projects that we'll be expending those funds on. If we could turn to page 59, there are gas tax revenues. These comes in from the sale of gasoline. These all can be used on streets and roads repair, and usually we end up transferring those funds to our general fund to cover basic maintenance that we do around town on our roads. Okay, next would be on page 63 and 64. This is our Measure L. You can see we're projecting $487,000 to come in next year, and we're going to be doing our big project at $3.8 million. We've already got $1 million saved up, so we've already got cash to pay a third of that down, and then we'll get through 4 years instead of the 5 that we had previously. I get those paid off and start saving up again, and then jump on another big project. And a quick note, let's go to page 71 and 72. This is our Veterans Memorial Fund. We're projecting about $20,000 to come in under that project. Again, this is one of the funds we'll be saving up to be able to do our Veterans Memorial at a future date. The next page, 73 and 74, which is the Road Repair and Accountability Act, SB1. These are, again, it's similar to Measure L, except this one is done through the state. Same kind of thing. We receive a little bit less funding, but we're going to be doing some projects, expending that money as well. If we continue on page 81 and 82, this is our Lighting and Landscape District. These funds are funds that come in that are put onto our tax rolls, residence tax rolls that reside within those 15 zones that are in the city. We're projected $408,000 that have come in from that. And then we mostly contract with Joe's Landscaping to go out and perform the work for us. It's a more economical use of our funds. And we should, by the end of the year, have about a $6,000 amount left over. On page 85 and 86, this is our capital repair and replacement. We usually transfer funds that were reserved in an amount equal to the depreciation on general fund assets over to this account. And this year, we're looking at picking up three vehicles, depending on how you look at it. 2 new vehicles, and then 1 vehicle that didn't come in last year, even though we've ordered it. It's taken over a year to arrive. We're putting that in the budget again for next year to be able to fund that. And then next page, 87 and 88, this is our COPS grant. This is money that is going to be transferred to the general fund that goes to cover overtime and communication fees. And then page 89 and 90, this is our successor agency, formerly known as the Redevelopment Agency. This is in a wind down phase. We have about 4 more years left on our bonds. We receive a portion of property tax revenues to cover those costs. We're not allowed to enter into any new contracts or expend any new money on projects. We just have to pay off the bonds and then eventually close the fund out. So that's about at least another 4 years on paying off the bonds. Okay, and that's it for the special funds. If there's any questions? Okay, the next section, there's only 2 funds. These are our enterprise funds. These are our water and sewer funds. They're required to be self-sufficient. So what that means is the amount of revenue that comes in from the utility bills has to be sufficient to pay for its own activities. So the first one would be our sewer fund, which is on page 99 and 100. We're projecting a slight increase in revenues, mostly due to new homes. There is no rate change this year for the sewer because the new homes and commercial properties were projected it's going to increase. If you look at the end of there, we're looking at a $918,000 gain. Some might think this is really huge, but typically with projects that occur in the sewer fund, they're very large, very expensive. One of the projects we're doing out there, I believe, is $6 million. That's the McPike project. So by having this money every year, save up, and then we can go out and do these projects. Okay, next would be our water fund, pages 103 and 104. We're projecting a slight increase in our revenues as well. This one does have a rate change that occurs near the end of this year. I believe it's in November. And plus, we're also getting new homes and commercial properties, so we're projecting a slight increase to our water revenues. One of the key things that we're doing too is if you look down near the middle of the page, 6350 is the count, supplies meters. We're budgeting $200,000 to purchase wireless meters. Over the last several months, we have been installing wireless meters in various areas of the city, which reduces our read times significantly, and it increases our accuracy. Once the whole city is converted over to these wireless meters, which will take us a few years to get to, an individual would be able to drive the city in half a day and read all the meters, versus right now it takes 5 guys about 7 working days to get it all done. So it's a huge savings and extremely accurate.
Were there any grants for those? I thought there were at some point.
There were, and there have been. We've not been lucky in getting any of them, and they seem to pop up once in a while. They're not always available. I know there's a few years back where the state was trying to push them really hard, but a lot of the bigger agencies were getting awards for those. And then also down towards the bottom, account 8130, there's a $236,300. That is our new loan payment on our well tank and booster pump. That's one of the projects that if we're able to get 15 people connected up to it, it significantly reduces our cost, and this is that reduced amount. We're very confident that we're going to get those connections. Okay, then our last section is the capital projects. These are funds whose monies come from developers. And again, they're somewhat restricted in that they have to be for certain projects. So for example, if you collect development fees for parks, you have to use them on parks. So Fund 16, which is on page 109, you see we're projecting $155,000 to come in from developer fees. Currently, that fund has a little over $1 million in it. We don't have any project currently budgeted for that. The next one is our community benefit fee. This is pages 111 and 112. And we currently have collected about $86,000 on that. And these are for the city to complete projects that benefit the community. The next one is our public facility impact fees. We're projecting about $233,000 to come in from developers for these types of expenditures. And then next would be the supplemental impact fees, same kind of thing. We have currently about $1 million in that fund. And then the next page, 42, our Fund 42 on page 117, projecting about $56,000 to come in from developers to cover our storm costs. Next one would be page 119 and 120, which is our capital sewer impact fees. These fees come in and go to use towards improvements for our sewer systems. And the next are capital water impact fee. It's on page 121 and 122, projected about $58,000 to come in. Now, all of these funds, they receive revenues quicker as homes are built. So the more homes you build, the quicker those funds come in.
The community benefit, number 31, how much did you say was in that account?
Currently $86,957 as of this morning. Okay, then on page 124, this one's a sideways spreadsheet here. So these are several of the equipment pieces that we're going to be picking up during the year. We've got a couple of mobile data terminals, a variety of cameras that we're going to be installing new and replacing. Replacing a variety of computers. These are scheduled replacements. We work with Mid-Valley IT, and they provide a schedule for when computers need to get replaced out, so we're staying current. And then we've got we got the switch that goes in the police department, a couple of video camera servers, and then some backup hardware. Now, on the very last page of the budget, this is that list of those one-time purchases out of our general fund that I mentioned to you that we're doing some improvements at the teen center, police department, office projects, the dumpster enclosure, a variety of items that are on there. That's pretty much it for the budget. Like I mentioned before, our fund is pretty healthy. I know other cities may be struggling with it, but we sit at about a 55 to 60% reserve. So we could go a little over half a year without getting any money in our general fund and still be able to meet all of our expenditures, that's a healthy account. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
I don't have a question other than, I guess I've been saying this for a very long time, is that you people do a good job. Chief, both the chiefs, very well. City manager, the city servant people. I just told council that someone in San Francisco mentioned to me about Newman.
Really?
San Francisco. I said, yeah, that's why I stay in San Francisco. I mean, in Newman. I moved from the Bay Area to Newman. And they're hearing good things about us. And that's incredible. And I know I'm not the only one that is hearing these vibes, but people are talking about us in the city of Newman. You guys are doing a hell of a job. And I know that all these other cities around us, and you guys are probably not even hearing it, they're jealous of you. And I just want to thank you and commend you guys for doing what you do. I come from an urban city, and that's hell in an urban city. You guys are doing well here.
Great presentation.
Very good.
Very easy to read. What is our total budget expenditure?
So on page 7.
38 million?
Yeah, it's going to be the 35, so right in the middle there, which is operating expenditures, $35,059,541. That's general fund across all funds, water, sewer, everybody.
Good deal.
Yeah. One other thing I mentioned too is that our budget, it's not a line item budget. So we do it by department. So if in a particular department, they don't need all their particular funds for one item, but they do for something else, emergency comes up, they are free to be able to move that. And that helps the departments be able to get what they need when they need it.
Absolutely. Good deal. All right. Any questions from council? Open up to the public for any questions or comments? There are none. So I'll bring it back to council for item number 1.
I move to adopt resolution number 2023, a resolution establishing fiscal year 2023-2024 GAAN appropriations limit.
I second.
We have a first and second. Go and vote. Motion carries 5-0. And now item number 2. Action for council.
Move to adopt resolution number 2023, resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year 23-24.
I'll second.
We have a first and second. Go and vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Lou. Outstanding job.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 11, items from District 5 Stanislaus County Supervisor. He's not here tonight. Item number 12, items from the city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Thank you tonight for this approving this budget for us. A couple items that I think that I know the council finds important too is that the truck that we're looking for is our animal control truck. We've been trying to get an animal control truck since last July. I think we ordered it right after last July, and they have not even started making it yet. So that's the vehicle we're looking for. And I know there's money in this budget as well. We're going to start the design and engineering work for the new corporation yard for the land that you purchased at Canal School in Inyo. But the second component of that as well is doing design work to create a new animal control center at our existing corp yard. So those projects are going to mirror each other in terms of timing. We're going to try to engineer and design and engineer them at the same time. So while we're constructing one, we can make improvements to the other. So there is money in the budget to move those two projects forward as well. And then lastly, I think the one that you ultimately see is there is budget in the money. We've been in here since 2012, 2011, so we've been here over a decade. So we're going to give the outside a facelift and get a paint job on the outside of this building here and shine it back up. So again, just thank you. Just a couple projects I wanted to bring to your attention there. Catherine's not here, so I thought I'd share with you, the news project and the wetlands project, which are the same company, so I'm right next to each other. They're under construction. They have equipment out there moving around. So they'll be pushing some dirt probably for the next 30 or 45 days, and then they'll probably start bringing in the trucks where we have to excavate dirt and get it out of there. Again, we're looking at 100,000 cubic yards of dirt. So that is a lot of trucks. So that'll happen, and those trucks will go down Canal School Road to Sanchez over to 33 and out to the former stockyard at the south end of town on Highway 33. They'll drop the dirt there and come back the same path. Because as you know, we have construction going on in Inyo Canal School. We're doing all those surface right there as well at the intersection at Inyo and Highway 33. So those are all great projects. I think those are definitely going to benefit our community in the long run. I know, Mayor, the Canal School has always been near and dear to your heart, and so I think when we get that one done, people are going to see the improvement there, and it's going to be tremendous. And it'll be, the way we're designed it, 20 years. I mean, we designed it for heavy trucks, so it's going to be a good project for a long time. We've been in the works, and the mayor's been a part of this as well. As you know, the state legislature passed statute that identified this section of Highway 33 as Corporal Ron L. Singh Memorial Highway. we've been trying to plan a ceremony for when they're going to install the signs, but unfortunately, the signs haven't even been delivered yet. And we've been working on this, I think we started in like April, Mayor? I think it was when we started working on this. So we're trying to reach out to Caltrans again to figure out when that was going to get done. And originally, it was supposed to be done end of July. So once we get confirmation on that, we'll work with the Seeing family. There's going to be a small event on the plaza on a Saturday. So either late July, early August is what we're still hoping for. So, but we'll make sure we get that out on social media as well. And then just lastly, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy and safe 4th of July. Thank you. Answer any questions anyone may have.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you, and maybe you can just pass this along to our Public Works Director in reference to the dirt, in reference to the projects and upcoming projects with trucks moving dirt up the city, that they keep the grounds wet because of dirt flying into people's homes and their backyards and things, that we might, just think of them in reference to all the dirt that we moving around town.
And that is one of their requirements by the Air Pollution Control District as well.
Right.
So,
Yes, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike. Ally?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I don't have too much to say today, other than remember that we have our downtown market this coming up. I'm sorry, not this Friday, but the following Friday. So if you guys can make it out there, check it out. There's only 2 left, this July and August, and that'll end our downtown markets and then commence the Fall Festival. If you have anybody interested in being part of the market or the Fall Festival, you can send them my way and I'll share the info with them of where they have to go. And our annual Fit Kids Camp will start next Thursday. So we do have a couple of departments here that will be part of our annual Fit Kids. You guys are more than welcome to come out, check out the programs that we run out there with the youngsters. They start at 8:30 and end all the way till 12:30 this year. The school district is working with us, delivering breakfast and lunch for all these kids in our camp. So thank you to them. And I can answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, Ally. Chief?
Evening, Mayor, council members. July is Auto Theft Prevention Month, so we will be handing out the club steering wheel locks to Newman residents at the police department. They're free of charge. You just have to bring in your registration showing that you are a Newman resident, and they're open to all vehicles. So, also just a reminder: 4th of July is coming up. Celebrate safely, sanely. Don't aerial fireworks. We'll be looking for you. So. Keep them under control and within the city limits.
Just legal fireworks.
Yep, correct.
They've already.
Ones you can buy from there.
They've already started.
They have.
An M80 went off last night that shook me out of my spa.
Thank you, Chief.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Lou, anything else?
Briefly, we're at the end of our fiscal year, so the treasurer's report that normally would be produced for June gets put on hold until the audit's complete. So budget's done, right back into audit season. Other than that, that's it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Good job again tonight.
Thank you.
Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I just want to remind you guys, temperatures are increasing. It's going to get hot out there, so look out for your loved ones, coworkers, all that fun stuff. I've sent out a couple emails about it. Also, 4th of July, we'll be out. We're up staffing, so we'll have 2 additional volunteers at the station, which will give us 4 people. So, and then 2 officers on. I can answer any questions you guys might have.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Be safe. Pro Tem?
Just thank you to all staff who work on the budget. I know it's a year-round process, and as we're concluding negotiations and ratifying contracts with all the bargaining units, thank you to all the staff of the city and the great work they do. I'm very glad I moved here in 1998 to join my wife's family, so still very proud of this staff. Thank you.
Councilman McDonald?
I have nothing to say. Have a blessed evening.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
I'd like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Be safe. First responders, be safe this week out there, and thank you for everything. And with that, I'll ask for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
First,
I'll
second.
second that.